Last night, the A's returned home to host the Orioles after a week-long road trip. It started out with a bang as the A's got on the board early with the 2 spot. So things were looking good until the O's showed off why they made the postseason last year, getting some good defense and flexing their power as the Orioles took game 1 of the 4-game set. Tonight, the A's will look to rebound and get back to their winning ways. It's the A's and the Orioles. Game 2 is next. It is a big sports night in Oakland. We got a doubleheader. Warriors are playing at the Oracle Arena. A's are playing at the Coliseum. Maybe a couple of victories coming out of the East Bay. Pitching matchup tonight here at the Coliseum. Wei-Yin Chen against Tommy Malone. So a couple of lefties in game 2 of this 4-game series. It's the Oakland A's hosting the Baltimore Orioles. You'll see it right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Hi again, everybody. Well, welcome to Oakland A's baseball along with Ray Fossey. I'm Glenn Kuiper. Well, the A's continue to score runs. Not a lot last night, but still they lead the major leagues in runs scored, Ray. And a guy who's kind of having a quiet but very fine season is Josh Donaldson. Yeah. And we're talking a lot about Jed Lowry offensively and some of the other guys, but Donaldson's been there every game, and he's been solid.
Kuiper, it's amazing what happened to him last year. Remember, he's up and down between here and Sacramento. He finally came back. He talked about defense. It's amazing how much that helped him with his offense. What a great play down in Tampa. Down in the bullpen, made a miraculous catch, but his offense has been spectacular because he's using the whole field. This ball in Boston and went to right center, driving in a couple of runs. But the fact that he can pull the ball as he did in the postseason last year, but he can also use the whole field, it's made him a very good hitter. He's a very intelligent hitter. He knows how to set up pitchers, and I think what he has done defensively at third base has really helped him swing in the bat.
You saw Wei-Yin Chen, and he's pitching tonight against the A's. He pitched twice last year, and he was very, very good. The A's had trouble hitting him.
It's called a sneaky fastball. He's not overpowering, as the numbers will show, but his ability to use both sides of the plate, which he did against the A's last year. Fastball inside, fastball away, mix in some off-speed pitches, but he just fooled the hitters last year almost to the point you see those hitters could not pull the trigger, could not swing the bat. But I think tonight for Wei-Yin Chen, I think the A's are a little bit more familiar with him. We'll see how they approach him tonight.
And we think the A's should put on a good performance for those guys from 1973. We're going to spend tonight and tomorrow having a lot of fun reminiscing about the 1973 World Series winning Oakland A's. In fact, we're going to talk to some of those guys tonight right here in the booth. That's always a lot of fun. So we'll have that and the ball game coming up next.
on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. The Chipotle Chicken Club Combo is back for a limited time at Jack in the Box. Try one today with fries and a drink for just $4.99 plus tax.
Welcome back to the Coliseum. O.co Coliseum. Busy night with the Warriors playing next door. Good luck to them. And the A's trying to get back on the winning track. Tommy Malone hopes to do that tonight. He's losing last night 10-2 to pretty good Baltimore Orioles team. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. 60 degrees with the winds at 19 miles an hour. So typical weather night at the Coliseum this time of year. And the Orioles, game 2 of what is a 11-game West Coast road trip. Old-fashioned West Coast road trip for Baltimore, and this is the lineup that Buck Showalter sends out tonight for the O's. Markakis will lead off tonight, followed by Machado, Jones, Davis hits in the cleanup spot, then Wieters, Hardy, Reimold, Steve Pearce will DH, and Alexi Casilla is the second baseman. So a couple of changes for the O's in their lineup.
Tommy Malone gets the start for the Athletics in the second game of the series, and Tommy, who loves to pitch at the Coliseum, hopes that holds true here tonight against a very tough Orioles team. Won his 13th game. His final win came against these Orioles last season, so Tommy wants to continue the success, and couldn't have a better guy pitching here at the Coliseum, especially the way he enjoys the foul territory, as most pitchers do.
The A's defense tonight has a different look. And there it is. Wells, that's Casper Wells at left, Young in center, Reddick in right, Donaldson at third, Rosales is going to play short, and Jed Lowry slides over to play second base, with Nate Fryman at first and Derek Norris doing the catching. So some changes for the A's tonight. Jed Lowry at second and Rosales at short. Tommy Malone has finished his warm-up tosses, and we are just about set to go as Nick Markakis steps in. So lefty on lefty to start the ball game. Malone kicks, and his first pitch is high. It's Earth Week. Don't toss that paint can. U.S. homeowners throw out 64 million gallons of unused paint yearly, enough for over 3 million miles of highway stripes. Store it, donate it, or take it to a hazardous household waste site for proper disposal. Green is universal.
Paint your garage. Paint something with it, you know.
Don't let it sit there.
We talked about Nick Markakis in the leadoff spot several games last year for Buck Showalter, and against the lefty tonight, he is right back in the leadoff spot.
1-2 to Markakis.
There is the manager, Buck Showalter, and Cap, I think you said it best last night. The extension he got, it's going to be in an Orioles uniform as long as he wants to be there, and he has the contract that will take him many, many years down the road.
Ground ball right at Nate Fryman. Big guy picks it up, steps on the bag, and that is out number 1.
Tommy could look back at the start against the Orioles last year. He had 4 double play ground ball outs, so his changeup was very effective against the Orioles. Got him out on the front foot, and it's nice to see the first out recorded with a ground ball.
So Manny Machado, the youngster, steps in. Last night, the Orioles scored 10 runs on 15 hits. And on top of the 15 hits, they received 6 walks. So it was one of those nights where it seemed like the Orioles had runners on constantly, and they did. They also stole 3 bases, a couple of sacrifice flies, so they kind of did it all offensively last night. And there's a shot toward the gap in left center field. Wells races over to try to cut it off. He's not going to do it. So Manny Machado, a line shot, and that ball was smoked.
Well, we talked last night about the location. The Orioles hitters taking advantage of some mistakes, and look at the location. A belt high fastball, trying to get it inside, did not make it in. With the location, the sound, listen, crushed. And that ball was going to the wall. No matter how deep the outfielders were playing, it was going to make it to the wall easily the way it did. But if you keep the ball down, you get ground ball outs. You elevate it. The way Machado got on top of the ball, not surprising, was a ringing double.
So here's Adam Jones. Jones, great start to this season, hitting .359. Takes the first pitch strike. Sixth best batting average in the American League in the early going. Guys bunched together. So 1-1 the count to Jones with Chris Davis in the on-deck circle.
Good job blocking this ball by Derek Norris, and goes down, moves nicely to his left and blocks it. Darren Bush, the new bullpen coach for the Athletics, does an extensive amount of work even during the season before games with the catchers working on blocking balls in the dirt, and Darren Bush was hired specifically to work with the catchers. He's done an excellent job with it.
Machado takes off and the ball scoots past Norris, and Machado is going to round third and then stop there.
If he had not slipped, he might have thought about trying to score, because essentially it was a stolen base, which he was going to probably make easily. But once the ball got past Derek Norris, he had already hit third, rounded third, and then slipped a little bit. But he got a great jump because the middle infielder spread quite a bit, gave him the spot. So he even rounded there and then tripped as Derek Norris. But there's the slip going around the bag, or stepping on the bag maybe. Clay Wood put some substance on there that made him trip.
The Maury Wills rule. Try to slow Maury Wills.
You don't want to do that. That's not a good.
2-1 pitch to Jones is rolled foul. So Machado was running on that play, so it's a stolen base.
Yeah.
So that's 4 steals now for the Orioles in the first 2 games of this series.
Well, remember Rosales is playing right now with Jones to pull, so he is playing straight up at shortstop. So only Jet Lowry could try to keep him close at second. Once Lowry went back to his position to cover the ground, that was wide open for Machado to take off the way he did. And that's a big stolen base. The infield is back.
Close pitch, just missed. And now it's a full count to Jones. 3 home runs, 17 RBIs.
Just missed outside corner, and of course the home plate umpire moving a little bit, probably called low. Strikeout, of course, would be huge. No pop.
And he gets the strikeout as Adam Jones chased a pitch in the dirt.
And you're going to get a lot of strikeouts, Cap. When that happens, you have a 3-2 count on a hitter who's aggressive. You pull a string, and Tommy Milone threw it great because he kept it down, did not take a chance of making a mistake with it. He bounced it. Great job of blocking it, catching it actually by Derek Norris. Tagged the runner, or the hitter, and get the out. But that was a great play. And I think last night, if we'd have seen a few more changeups in those counts, might have been a different story. So that was a great call, great pitch thrown by tonight's starter. Parker 2-0 lead last night, as was the case for Brett Anderson on Wednesday.
Well, that was one of the storylines from last night, all the 2-strike hits by the Orioles. Tommy Milone in the early going tightens it up with runners in scoring position.
The old equalizer, changeup in his case, is a very good pitch.
1-0 to Davis, and that one's in first strike. 87-mile-an-hour fastball. .368, 8 homers, 24 RBIs. So Jones and Davis both off to great starts for the Orioles. Tonight hitting 3 and 4 in their lineup. That's Jim Reynolds calling balls and strikes tonight.
He missed one big strike last night. Amazing how some things just aren't forgotten. Sorry.
Kurt Young may cost him some money. I was looking for Kurt today.
Yeah, I saw him.
Wanted to say, Kurt, give it up. What happened?
I said, did you actually say anything? And, oh, well, you know, Kurt.
I can hear Kurt saying it just like.
You know, he did the swinging with his hand like he thought it was a swing, but something else must have come out.
That's a strike, 3 and 2.
All fastballs to Davis, and he's a good hitter and Says a lot about Buck Showalter putting him in the cleanup spot, even though lefty on lefty. And there's a good fastball outside corner. And after all these fastballs, would he dare throw him anything but on 3-2? Adam Jones got the off-speed pitch.
And that one's in the dirt. So Davis works the walk, and now it'll be Wieters. Let's check out our Cache Creek by the numbers for tonight. Tommy Milone 2013 pitch usage and the opponent's average on those pitches.
Maybe you could freeze frame that and we could talk about it and discuss it maybe for 5 innings and figure out what it is.
Well, I think that the changeup, which is his big pitch, he throws a lot, 27% of the time. The fact that the opposition's hitting 3-0, that's obviously the numbers that jump out.
Off the changeup or
the changeup?
Well, we shouldn't have shown that. I mean, if we talk about how great a changeup he's had, so why would we talk about those inflated batting averages?
Just giving you the facts, Ray. Just giving you the facts. As they used to say on Dragnet, just the facts.
Just the facts.
Just the facts. Doesn't mean I don't agree with you. 0-1 to Wieters. One runs inside.
You know, as hot as Chris Davis is, that might not have been a bad walk. He went 3-2 changeup. I mean, Malone did, but Davis, I don't think it really matters. Lefty, righty, and he's one of those hitters that I'm sure the scouting reports say don't let him beat you. Tommy Malone pitched him carefully.
Wieters hitting .232, 3 home runs and 10 RBIs for the big catcher for the Orioles. 21 pitches for Malone here in the first inning, trying to work his way out of a jam. Good pitch there, keeping it away from Wieters.
That's an amazing thing, and pitching carefully to the left-handed, the true lefty, and Chris Davis knowing the switch hitter, and Matt Wieters is in the on-deck circle. And Tommy Malone is good enough that he can pitch carefully to certain hitters, that the tough one and Matt Wieters try to do the same. And some good pitches.
And that's a swinging strikeout. So Tommy Malone does work himself out of the jam, strikes out a couple. So we're going to the bottom of the first. No score at the Coliseum. At the top of the first, but they do not score. So bottom of the first, and let's look at the lineup for the Oakland Athletics tonight. Coco Crisp is going to DH tonight. Then Young, Reddick, Lowry playing second. Donaldson, Norris, Fryman, Wells, and Rosales at short.
And the lefty Wei-Yin Chen, we talked about his pitches. He'll throw a fastball, curveball, slider, and change up fastball. Top out, low 90s, but the way he throws it, very sneaky. And We detailed in our open, the hitters could not make contact, a lot of contact, and as a result, picked up a couple of wins against the A's last year. Both of them in Baltimore, as we show. The A's scored a total of 2 runs against him in 12 2/3 innings. That's not good.
Yeah, he's good. So the defense for the Orioles: Reimold, Jones, Markakis in the outfield, Machado, Hardy, Casilla, Davis on the infield, with Wieters doing the catching. So Chin to face Coco Crisp. Left-hander. First pitch is up and away, and Chin, like a lot of the Japanese pitchers, just that little hesitation in their delivery, and that can screw up a hitter a little bit.
I think that's taught.
You know what? You may be right.
Or they just all followed Hideo Nomo.
Nomo had major hesitation.
Well, Matsusaka with Red Sox. I mean, he'd rock you to sleep. He rocked so many times. But he was effective.
I stand corrected. Chen is from Taiwan. Right. On the infield right side, Chris Davis is under. He's got it.
The Orient, right?
That's right. So that's out number 1 as Coco pops out. Coco DHing tonight, so
what happened to his hair?
He's going to have to keep himself occupied.
It's amazing. His hair can change so many different ways from day to day. It's amazing.
Yours and mine just stays the same.
Just as long as it's there, who cares?
You ain't lying. And even that's starting to become in question.
It's looking good. Good fight. Chris Young figured out that Manny Machado can play third last night. First thing he talked about, he said, I tested him and he proved he could go to his left, he could go to his right. And I said, just stop hitting there. It's something about Orioles and their third baseman. They know how to play.
A little bit outside to Young, 2-0. 164 for Young, but he has driven in 14 runs. And now 3-0. A couple of lefties tonight. Josh Reddick will be next. Reddick back in that third spot. And there's a walk. So the A's have a 1-out base runner here in the bottom of the first.
And one thing that's been a constant in the first 2 batters, all fastballs. Both of them right-handed. Of course, facing his first lefty. We'll see if he throws anything any different.
And the manager, Bob Melvin, said, you know, I like the swings that Reddick's taken.
Sure.
So he thought it was time to move him back into that third spot. First pitch to Reddick is a strike. 169 with a homer and 12 RBIs for Reddick. 1 for 3 last night with a double.
Still say whether it's hitting third or fifth or sixth or whatever, as long as he's in the lineup, it doesn't matter. And the only way you can get your swing back is if you play.
That would hit back upstairs, second deck. Remember, one of the outs that Reddick made late in the game last night was a line shot right at the first baseman. One of the hardest hit balls the A's had last night, and it was an out. And swing and a miss on 0-2. So Reddick strikes out.
Young took off almost like he was fake going to second. Chen looked at him again and threw a good fastball. Mislocation, but still fastball. Belt up high, and Wieters just did a nice catch to the inside instead of the pitch outside. It's going to be a lot of fun when the A's just start getting the ball and just get the way it was last year. It's going to happen.
And they're still leading the major leagues in runs scored. They've slowed down some lately. But they got off to such a terrific start offensively. They were just racking up runs big time.
And I think the most disappointing thing is when people say, well, they beat Houston, but how are they going to be against other teams? They start automatically looking at that, and I don't think it's been a factor if the A's are playing the Rays, the Red Sox, and now the Orioles. I mean, these are good teams. And not to say Houston's not. But the A's just took advantage of some opportunities against the Astros and finished 6-0. But if you're not swinging the bat, not putting the hitting, scoring runs, and the pitching together, I have trouble.
Lowry hits one toward right. Markakis is under it. He's got it inside. Retired. When we come back, the lefty who can pitch and hit, Ken Holzman, is going to join us in the booth. He's going to tell us all about it when we come back. '73 World Series. Ken Holzman, he got the start, got the win, and helped himself out. A double. He would later score.
Who's that
Guy's
thin
got
guy?
some speed.
Who's that thin guy?
He's won game one by a final score of 2-1. He can pitch. He can hit.
Felix Millan, right there. Look at him run too. Kyle could do it all.
I got a hit in game 7. That was better than game 1.
So that is the voice of the gentleman you just saw sprinting home, Ken Holzman. Kenny, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Glenn. It's great to be here. And I was telling Ray, looks like we got the entire starting team, all the starting pitchers, and it's fun to see.
I told Ray you were my favorite guest last year. You made me laugh like 4 times.
He's my favorite catcher.
So
my pal.
We talked about it this year. First year of the DH was 1973, but they didn't use it in the World Series.
That's correct.
And you could hit, right? I mean, this wasn't like some new thing for you.
But at least, right, because I had played in the National League for 7 years, and so at least I wasn't a cinch out. At least I'm going to go up there swinging. And John Matlack kept throwing me inside fastballs, and I hit a couple of doubles. And
happened again in the World Series '74.
74 against Messersmith. I hit one out, hit a double in game 1.
Isn't that amazing for pitchers as good as you? You always remember your hitting.
Absolutely. I can't remember the games I pitched, but I can remember those hits.
I mean, you won game 1, and that's all we talk about is your double in game 1.
I won game 1 and won game 7 in '73, and in '74 I won game 4, and I did. I wound up with 4 doubles and a home run.
J.J. Hardy is retired. We're talking with Ken Holzman, great left-hander.
You know, the thing about you pitched so well for the Cubs. 20-game winner, how many, 4 times, 4 or 5 times?
Well, here, I won 19 twice.
Right, but in Chicago, you pitched well. Do you ever think, as long as it's been since the Cubs have won a World Series, that you're traded to the A's and you win nothing but World Series after playing for a Cubs team that probably weren't even, I mean, you might have thought about winning, but you never did.
The Cubs, certainly the teams that I played on, had 4 Hall of Fame players.
Right.
They certainly were a great team.
Right.
But they weren't as deep. I didn't think they were as fundamentally sound as the A's. And that's why, as it turns out, I wound up being a part of 2 very historical pitching staffs in Chicago with Ferguson Jenkins and Bill Hand, 20-game winners. And I came here, and I think we all won 20 in 73.
20-game winners in 73.
And, and that was the time when, I don't know how many innings I pitched, but it had to be close to 300. 40 in the spring and 20 in the postseason. Right. I wound up pitching 370 innings.
Kenny, Ted Griggs, who in charge of Comcast Sportsnet, the general manager, right, Cap? I guess it's not. But he said it's important that people remember the 3 world championships and some of the information that came out. Oh my! Look at that happen.
So Malone. Maybe just a touch late, but Reimold showing decent speed, and he beat it.
Well, Tommy falls off a little bit towards third base, and he missed the steps weren't in sync, and he wanted to step, should have stepped with his left. Maybe concerned about a little collision, but it didn't happen. But anyway, in those years, and they went back to Elias and Cooperstown, and they talked about the number of innings that you, Catfish, and Vida pitched, just the 3 of you. Almost over 800 innings. 800, I mean, you're looking probably
50 complete games.
Yeah, and if not 900 innings, just 3 guys, because then 40 starts, 300 innings really was kind of the benchmark of.
And yet, I always felt that no matter the workload, that you and I thought that was an advantage in that I had better command of my pitches from pitching more, and you and I obviously could change speeds and move around.
Oh, you did a phenomenal
job. And I was trying to, I always had trust and faith in you, just like Vida and Catfish, that 9 times out of 10 we're going to hit your target, and we're going to be close, and we're going to change speeds. You don't walk anybody and let them go.
Well, Kite knows what we talk about. He hears me talk about the umpires all the time. But the control, Kite, that these guys had, the umpires, I just keep moving out, split the outside part of the plate to be out of the strike zone.
You don't see guys like that as much.
Greg Maddux did it a lot, and he used to get the benefit of that much because he could hit it every time.
Exactly.
So it must have been a strike.
And as long as you hit the mid, the umpires, they don't look bad because the target's there. You hit the mid, they call it a strike. Nobody's going to.
But you got to be consistent with it. You can't do it 1 out of 2 times. You got to do it all the time, and then you get a break.
This guy had one of the best curveballs in all of baseball. And I'd call it, and he goes, I don't want to throw that.
I didn't even want you to give me a sign. I just want to give.
You wanted to keep the game rolling.
Oh, you know what his philosophy was? I want to pitch an hour and a half. Win or lose, I'm out of here. And that's it.
Well, as a matter of fact, we did a couple of times, didn't you? Why bother give me a sign? It's going to be a fastball, and I'm going to take something off, and you just tell me where you want it.
Okay, so that means you and I are in agreement then. When you see guys walking around the back of the mound, which means they're not quite sure what they want to throw. That drives me crazy.
I believe that is exactly right. And they might be unsure of that pitch, and instead of throwing it here, it might end up here, and then it winds up in the seats.
Rubbing the baseball up,
I didn't have time for that. Ray's back there. Let's, come on, let's go.
Nice pick by Donaldson. Throw a little high, but Lowry is going to be called safe. Everybody's going to be called safe.
How many times, and that's the sad part about that. I mean, the neighborhood they protect, the runner or the infielders at second base. So rare that you see the runner called safe on a play like that, where the second baseman Lowry, and you're right, Donaldson makes a great play, great throw to second. Lowry comes across the bag. The old neighborhood, granted he had to jump a little bit, but they call that guy out 99 out of 100 times. And we have to have a crew that's going to decide not to. And that's why Bob Melvin is arguing. They want to protect the middle infielders. They never think about catchers. But there's a case where Lowry, first game at second, right, Kate? He's been playing short every game, but he's capable of playing both. And you're right, they get nobody. But it's called the neighborhood play for a reason. In the area, it's all you have to do is be close in the air. The throw's a little bit high, and that's probably the reason the second base umpire, John Hirschbeck, called him safe.
So 2 on and 1 out for Alexi Casilla. So Bob Melvin argues.
E5. They just gave him an error on the throw from Donaldson.
So the error indeed goes to Donaldson.
You know, Cap, this is the 73 reunion of the World Series, but the league championship was a 5-game league championship, unlike now when it's 7. Of course, no division play during that time, but it was a 5-game league. And appropriately, the Orioles are in town, and the A's beat the Orioles 5 games. And our pal,
somebody pitched a good game in that series.
As soon as this is over, he's going to go over and get on Jump Palmer about that series.
That series, I had just finished 300 innings in the regular season, and I pitched Game 3 against Cuellar.
Yeah.
And the game went 11 innings.
Right.
And I remember telling Dick Williams, I said, I don't care if this game goes 30 innings. I'm not coming out of this game. And we finally got a run in the bottom of the 11th. Campaneris hit a home run. It went 2-1.
Yeah. No pitch counts, obviously. Give me a guess. I mean, how many pitches do you think you threw? 250? 200, I'm guessing.
I don't think it was that many because I didn't walk anybody, didn't strike that many out. Maybe struck out maybe 6 or 7, maybe.
2 hours.
11 innings, right?
2 hours and 23 minutes.
In 11 innings.
In 11 innings,
yes.
that's up.
2:23.
I had a little help. I got Mike Cuellar on the other team shutting us out, too.
I got you. See if the A's can turn 2. They get 1, and it's a double play. So the A's end up turning the double play and the inning. So the error does not hurt the Athletics. We'll continue our chat with Ken Holzman when we come back. Brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Let's check out the career of our guest, Ken Holzman. 15 seasons in the big leagues. Cubs, A's, Yankees, Orioles. Won 174 games, 31 shutouts. 3 World Series titles. A couple of no-hitters.
Oh,
and he played with the Orioles.
Got to play with my friend Jim Palmer over there in the other booth, which I had to get on him about the 73 and 74 playoffs.
And Kaipe had another no-hitter here that he should have had against the Tigers.
Really?
On Tom Verizon.
It was kind of a misjudged, but I remember that. But
we were in the bullpen and figured there's another no-hitter for my pal. That just didn't happen. But you were a great pitcher, and what a thrill. And you know, we were talking, and I will say, to be traded to a ball club after you guys just won the World Series, that was not easy.
But we were even better in 73 than 72. Once we got, I believe, Billy North in center and you behind the plate, made it a better team. And that was the first year of the designated hitter.
Right.
So that means that me, Vite, and Catfish can pitch 9 innings without being pinch hit for.
That's right.
So we can all pitch 300 innings and just go. And I think we all won 20 that year. So we're gonna have 50 complete games, and we don't care about hitting.
Darren Johnson. And he was
DJ.
Perfect. DJ came over from Philadelphia. He's the first DH for the A's.
It was perfect for it.
Right?
Oh, he was had a decent year. Yes, he did.
Great. He'd walk in the clubhouse and he'd be dressed, ready to go with a bat in his hand.
Out of all the players on that team, I think he was the most the happiest player when we won it and got the ring. He had played for so long and never smelled it, and he finally got one.
Clinched it in Chicago, the division, and he was on the flight back from Chicago. He was a mess. Needed a designated driver. But he enjoyed every minute of winning a championship.
And then he spent about $5,000 to embellish his ring, and Charlie didn't give us a good one.
Quick 2 outs here in the bottom of the second inning.
What about New York and the Mets? And you know, we've talked about the Mike Andrews situation after Game 2 and going to New York. Tell us what happened with Dick Williams and that whole situation.
You know, as great as our team was, certainly one of the greatest teams ever. What typified our team, I think, you had a lot of personalities who weren't what I call anti-establishment, but close. We didn't care who the powers that be. When the Mike Andrews incident happened and Finley wanted to fire and bring up Trio, we had a clubhouse meeting in the Mets clubhouse in New York City. And I remember Sal and Reggie got up there and said, as far as
you finish the story, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
5-pitch, that's a great inning.
Can't have a 5-pitch inning when Ken Holzman in the booth.
No, that's the good part.
Controversy, the 2 errors made by Mike Andrews. Second error was a bad call by the first base umpire.
It was a bad call, and Finley tried to fire Mike Andrews right after the game. The players revolted. Had a players meeting in New York City. We told, I forget his name, but who was the head of NBC Sports. And we said, if Mike Andrews is not reinstated within 4 hours, we're going back to the hotel, grabbing a plane and going right to Oakland. And as far as we're concerned, the Mets can win it on a forfeit. They had never heard anything like that. And, you know, the commissioner who was calling us and said, you guys can't forfeit the world's. Who can't? Yeah. These guys will do anything.
We won one last year, right?
Yeah, right. We don't care. And anyway, so they finally reinstated him. In fact, he got a standing ovation, I remember, from the New York crowd when he was reinstated. But
well, Dick Williams used him as a pinch hitter, and we knew he's more of a defensive second baseman. And that's what Dick said. Here's to you, Charlie. I'm going to put him in as a pinch hitter, and he gets a standing ovation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just
from the crowd.
But I think that all the players stood up for. Here was a guy who was like a utility player, wasn't one of our stars. And we were ready to go to the wall for this guy. We didn't care.
Well, it said a lot about your team.
Yeah.
So you were telling a story. Finish your story.
About the Mike Andrews incident?
Yeah, when we were going to break.
Well, I think you were talking about it as what happened in. That was the Mike Andrews.
Right. When we had the team meeting, we called up NBC Sports. And I forget the president of NBC Sports, but we threatened to boycott it and forfeit.
Huh. But yeah, that was.
And then we wore the armbands. Then we got the armbands with the 17 to really get Charlie mad on purpose.
An off day in New York wearing the number 17.
And we're wearing the 17 on our sleeves.
And there's no media in New York. No media in New York.
Oh, no.
So he must have been fuming.
Well, that's why we did it.
Sure.
And that team was unique in more than one respect. Not just a great playing team, but just a great bunch of guys.
I think what was interesting, and we were talking last night, Kenny, about coming back from New York down 3-2, and I don't know that there was a player who thought anything other than the A's are going to win 2 here at the Coliseum against the Mets, and sure enough,
hey,
1-2.
They had their ace against ours, a Catfish against Seaver in Game 6. Catfish beats him. Reggie gets a double and a home run, and I get to pitch Game 7 against Matlack. And I get a double in that game, pal.
You know you're hitting.
That's it.
No, and that was, I think, just the whole pitching. And I remember when Dick Williams, I was fortunate to be traded, the first thing Dick Williams said, we do 2 things here. We pitch and we catch the ball. We don't give extra outs. If we pitch and you catch the ball, you don't have to score a lot of runs. And you look at the offense with Reggie and Sal and Gino and Joe, and I mean, up and down at Campion North at the top, but the games were won 2-1, 3-2, 1-0 because of pitching and defense didn't give the extra outs, and you guys pitched so well.
I think most people point to pitching and defense as the hallmark of the championship teams, but you know what? When you look back on it, you had some pretty good clutch hitters, even in the postseason.
Absolutely.
Okay, I mean, I can remember you and Joe hit some big hits in postseason, in which your regular season stats might not leap out at you, but God, you saved your best shot for the big shot. Just the way it works out.
Yeah.
I don't care if we win 2-1, as long as you win 2-1.
As long as you win. Right. That's the bottom line. Now that was a lot of fun, and you're going to talk to Jim Palmer, and Kipe, when you play a whole season, and then you play a 5-game league championship to go to the World Series. Yeah. I'll be honest with you, and he can't wait, and you can't wait to get over and talk to him.
I'm going to bury him.
But there was so much pressure just to get in the World Series. That first game, winning 2-1, I'm behind the plate. I'm going, is it World Series? You got to be kidding me. It's like anticlimactic because it's a 7-game series, but just playing 5 games and had a 4-0 lead against the Orioles in Game 4.
Right.
And Etchebarren hits a 3-run home run. Richie ends up hitting 1 to win it, and all of a sudden you got to go to Game 5.
And you guys lost Game 1 of the ALCS.
That's right. Palmer pitched a shutout.
Then the following year, we played Baltimore again in the playoffs, lose Game 1. I pitched Game 2, and then they didn't score a run the rest of the World Series. I think me, Vite, and Catfish had 3 consecutive shutouts.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to go over there and tell Palmer about it. He still remembers.
And he'll be quick to tell you never gave up a grand slam in his whole career.
And you know what? You just tell him, well, you weren't facing me as a hitter.
Absolutely. I'd have got you.
I have a feeling you're going to have
that
an
high
answer
fastball.
for everything he said.
I'd have said, you throw me that high fastball of yours, I'd have knocked it right over that Oak sign.
So we will keep a camera on you when you go over there, because that may be entertaining to watch.
What year were you traded to the Orioles?
1976. Me and Reggie.
That's right.
Charlie broke up the team. Catfish was obviously the first to go. Then me and Reggie got rid of us. Then Vida, Rudy, and Raleigh.
My thrill was catching you, pal. You were great.
And thank you, pal.
Thank you. You're the best.
You're the best.
Thanks, Kenny. We appreciate it.
Thanks
for stopping. Ken Holtzman.
The
He's
best.
going to have a good time.
Pal was the best
this weekend. Go get Palmer. 4:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. We'll celebrate the A's 3 consecutive World Series titles. Interviews with A's greats Raleigh Fingers, Joe Rudy, Reggie Jackson, Ken Holtzman, Blue Moon Odom, and our own Ray Fosse. It's Legends, Oakland A's, the Forgotten Dynasty, Saturday at 4:30 right here on Comcast Sportsnet, California. So that'll be good viewing. Here tonight at the Coliseum, no score. The A's and the Orioles, bottom of the third, and the great guests just keep on coming. Dick Green has joined us. Can I call you Greenie? Because that's what Ray calls you all the time. Is that all right?
Bass.
Of course you can.
Bass, Greenie.
Bass.
Hey, but you know the first thing he said over in the East Side Club? What about Mark Ellis from the same town?
Yeah.
Same town.
Same kind of player.
That's right. Every time I'd
he's
watch.
a lot better.
No. Every time I'd watch Mark Ellis, I said, there's Dick Green. He's making a play.
That's right.
You know, Kite, everybody talked about his defense, and he could play. Of course, in '74, the play with Billy Buckner and the relay. But if we take a look at the second deck, plaza level down the left field line, Dick Green could hit that consistently.
I hit it once.
No. If you ever tried to hit, you might have hit 400.
Well, you guys wouldn't let me in the bat cage.
Well, you guys were just joking. You guys hit down at the bottom of the order.
That's right.
Let the big guys, let them worry about the big guys. And then
Just happy to be there.
there you go.
Yeah.
Just happy to be there.
Yeah.
Casper Wells strikes out swinging.
How great is it to get together and see the guys again?
It's wonderful. I've been looking forward to it since last year, and I'm also looking forward for next year.
Get 3 in a year.
Yeah.
You know, Frank Senchek at the end of the World Series said, "Okay, everybody, throw your uniforms." The pile. Dick Green said, "I'm keeping mine," and he'd walk out. You got every uniform, right?
Oh, in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, right. It's good, man. Great defensive second baseman, and with those teams, Kipe, there's nobody better playing second base than this guy.
That's what I've been told. And
Oh, thank you.
No, absolutely. The first one of the first games that I caught was runner taking off, and Dick Green was so good at second that he would know how to position himself, and he would know the runner's running, but yet he would hold his position in case he hit it on a hit and run. And I hesitated because I wasn't that familiar. And he told me, "You throw the ball to second, and I'll be there." And he was never afraid to put his face in front of an oncoming base runner sliding. And he was that good. And sure enough, he might be diving at the bag, but he'd catch the ball and make the tag. But you were the best. You were the best. You could do it all.
Thank
you. Things you remember that, and I'd look up, and I'd give a sign, and I'd look up and say, "Greenie's not where he's supposed to be." Throw the pitch, Greenie's there making the play. I mean, he was the best at, of course, having pitchers like Catfish and Guida and Blue Moon and those Raleigh, those guys.
That made it easy. That really made it easy. And sometimes when I anticipate, of course, we got meetings before the game, before the series, and
only this series.
You and I and the pitchers, right?
Right.
And then when I get a little, I don't think they're going to throw something. I'll yell at the pitcher, and he steps off because I wasn't even close to where I should have been if he's going to throw that pitch. Yeah.
most games played at second base in athletics history. Nobody more than our guest Dick Green.
And still probably could play beyond the years. Right?
Yeah, on the bench. I just barely played when I did the last couple years.
No. You listen. You don't give yourself the true story about how great you were. What?
There we go.
Ball off the glove of Machado. So Coco Crisp is aboard with 2 outs.
Really haven't played on 3. I mean, how do you look at those championships to the point that, I mean, to be a part of those championships on a yearly basis, almost the point that I wouldn't say it's old hat, but you knew how to play on championship teams. What made those teams special, and in particular this year, the '73, with the A's winning the World Series?
Well, first of all, we knew how to win, and you can always say you know how to win, but there's really a game to knowing how to win. In all 3 series were different. The first World Series, I think we were all happy just to be there. Mm-hmm. We felt that, and all the press felt that we were the inferior team. And of course, Cincinnati had a great bunch of players. And then Gene Tennis came through that series, and then in '73 we
I thought we played the weakest team of the teams that we played in the 3 World Series with the Mets. I thought that the Reds and the Dodgers were great teams, and we had a harder time with them than we did with the other 2 teams.
Amazing what pitching does. Huh?
Yeah, amazing what pitching. And then I got a story. I got a story about that with Seaver too.
Okay.
I had a hit in that World Series. I hit a dribbler through his legs, and then they went out in center field, and I got a base hit, and that was the only hit I had in the World Series. So I'm up at Napa Valley, and I'm happened to be at a winery up there where he makes his wines.
Yep.
So he had a couple barrels up there. And
you drank a couple of barrels?
No, we didn't. But
okay.
I did something else. There's a bunch of us that go all the time, and when we buy wine, we have stickers on our cases that we buy. Well, this one gal who makes the stickers was my baseball card. Was my sticker.
Okay.
One of my baseball cards. So we'll let. This guy, I thought he was going to hit a home run.
No, well, that's fine. If he hits a home run, you can stop talking. Otherwise, you see the beauty of TV. People can see what's going on. They'd rather listen to you. Once you go over the radio, whenever they're talking,
we're on TV.
We're on TV.
Oh, I didn't know.
You have the face for TV. That's why you're here.
Where's the TV?
You're on right now. See? You're there.
I am.
That's a robotic camera right there, looking at you.
Where's the camera?
Just keep telling the story. I want to find out about this.
Anyway, when I'm up there, whoa. We got back.
We just did get back, Coco Chris.
It's like a campy slide.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I put one of my stickers on his barrel up there, and I wrote on the sticker, I says, "I own you." So, because I'm 1,000%.
That's right.
I faced Seaver, and I got one hit, one for my lifetime. So, a few weeks later, he writes me a letter, and it's a really nice letter, and invited me to his winery and everything, and that was very nice.
That's great. So you own him.
I own him. Only pitcher I ever owned. People ask me, what's the hardest pitcher you faced? And I said, all of them.
Well, I will say this. You played so well in the 74 World Series. If you had gotten one hit, you'd have been the MVP. Well, and that's it. You didn't get one hit in the World Series, did you? In 74?
No, I didn't get one.
Because we kept saying, Greeny got one hit. If he gets one hit, he's the MVP. Yeah. Played so fantastic defense. Unbelievable.
I got to go to New York to accept the award, though. I went and got the Babe Ruth award.
Oh, great.
And I got to go there.
Beautiful.
That was supposed to be Babe Ruth, he wasn't much of a hitter, was he? Anyway.
Did you hear what he just said?
Who?
Our producer?
No.
Oh, he just told me what you hit in 74.
Oh, I know. he didn't give it to me.
You knew without him saying. That's why we said if you'd have gotten one hit, you'd been the MVP.
Yeah.
But you hit 13 times and stick around. I got a great story about Dick Green and just how much he thought the A's were going to win it in 73. And you were right.
Evergood Sausage Company. Top of the 4th inning, no score between the A's and the Orioles. We continue our conversation with Dick Green, second baseman for this great A's teams. Dick, we were talking to Ken Holtzman about the Mike Andrews situation. You had to feel bad about. I mean, here you're a second baseman. You've been there, made an error before, right? I mean, such a strange situation. He's playing your position. What was going through your mind when that was happening?
Well, I was in the clubhouse, and it's kind of a sensitive situation with me. I heard the whole thing on in the training room between the doctor and Mr. Finley. And
that's
Mike.
where it got a little weird, huh?
So, poor Mike. Poor Mike. He doesn't deserve any of that.
Yeah, doesn't sound like it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Kenny said it best, the way the team stood up for him. And I mean, it should never have been an issue for that.
No, I wore a black armband when I came out in the field in practice.
We all did, and that's why Charlie got a little upset.
Yeah, he did.
There's your strong hose there. The shortstop, Adam Rosales, got the arm. But you were quick at second. But, Kipe, the one thing that I'll never forget about Dick Green, and to be honest, to be playing for Team Norm, we had no chance to win. To get traded to the A's, 10 days going spring training. And one thing I'll never forget was standing around the batting cage in Mesa, the old Rendezvous Park. Standing around the batting cage, and I said to Dick Green, why is everybody just so lackadaisical? Like, you know, you're just out here going through the motions. Dick Green said something to me. He said, we're going to win our league or our division. We're going to play somebody from the other league, other division that is. We're going to beat them. We're going to go to the World Series, play somebody from the National League, and win the World Series. I just left the team. I lost 99 games. And I've got somebody telling me 10 days before the season that all this is going to be played out. Now, after winning a World Series, how much were you thinking, one's not enough, we're going to do it again? Because you told me exactly what it was going to play out, and it did. But you just...
We had such a good team, and we had the pitching. We had Reggie.
Because he wasn't available in 72. He didn't play in the World Series in 72.
And we just had the feeling. I mean, it wasn't a piece of cake, but you know, we didn't get along that well when we were in the clubhouse and things like that. But once we crossed the line, we knew how to win. And when you know how to win, you got it. And the secret to know how to win is doing your job when the time comes. And if someone doesn't do it, someone else is going to pick you up. And that's what a winning ball club is all about.
Well, you would know because you were there all three, and so you saw it.
Well, I'm lucky to play with players like you and everybody else.
You know,
I was just a very small cog on that team.
But you know, it's funny. You were part, I think, of the Charlie or Dick's idea of, did you ever get to hit? Because if it would rotate the second baseman, every time the time would come up, they'd pitch hit for a second baseman. No. Somebody else would play.
Yes.
You were part of that.
Yes, I was part of that. I got to play first, though. And then I didn't get taken out until we got behind.
Kipe, this laugh. I mean, you can imagine this laugh every day at the park. I mean, that was such an infectious laugh. It's unbelievable. But,
well, we had a lot of fun.
It was fun, but you're right. Crossed the white lines, and
yeah, we knew how to win.
Yeah. Made a big difference.
Yep.
But,
we did it.
But I will say, a lot of second basemen played the game, but I don't think there's ever one that's any better than you doing what you did. And still say, if you had applied, you could have been probably a 300-plus hitter, be in the Hall of Fame. But you cared more about catching ground balls behind Catfish and Holtzman than the guys that. There
was a lot of satisfaction.
Yeah, absolutely, it made it. But that was part of it. I was glad that you hit behind me.
I did. Catfish hit in front of me a few games when he pitched.
Dick Green, thanks for stopping by. Have fun this weekend, all right?
Thank you. Already have. Thank you.
Thank you, Bass. Good to see you, buddy.
Thank you.
TNT, who is the only pitcher in Major League history to appear in every game of a 7-game World Series. If you think you know the answer, tweet us at CSN Athletics.
Monty, I think he's in the house someplace here tonight, isn't he?
Said something?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, you can't say it. They just finally turned your microphone on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I just said we can't cheat because we know who that is.
That's right.
The great Monty Moore
joins
us, which is always a thrill. Monty, how are you?
The thrill is mine, I'll tell you. To come back here to this Coliseum and sit between you two guys, I listen to you every day, so
that's good.
I feel like I know you.
Well, we know you, and we're happy you're here, and can't wait until tomorrow when we get to hear the wonderful voice of Monty Moore on the PA system. And there's your dinger right there. You know, Kipe, the first thing he said,
yeah,
I can't duplicate what happened a few years ago. Not even going to try.
That was as good as it could.
Yeah, somebody called me up and said, you're going to bring your dinger? And I said, no way.
How did that start?
Play the tape.
How did the dinger? You just got to refresh our memories with the dinger.
Well, I'll tell you what. Darryl Knowles, one night, I interviewed him after a ball game. He had relieved the night before and gave up a home run, and I was talking to him on the air about it. And he said, well, everything is pretty good until I gave up that dinger. And I said, dinger? He said, yeah, that's what we're calling home runs. I said, okay, I'll do that. So that night a home run was hit, and I said, there goes a dinger or something like that. And we're on a road trip, and I said, you know what? We're coming back to play the Kansas City Royals, a doubleheader on Monday nights, one of those half-price nights.
Yep.
And we were in the pennant battle with those guys, pretty close.
I remember it.
So I said, fans, why don't everybody who comes to the ball game Monday night bring a bell of some kind?
That's right.
And we'll have a double dinger night here. And I don't mind telling you, we had bells all over this place. I never saw so many nor heard so many.
And the Royals had to face Catfish and Vida. In a doubleheader, a regular scheduled doubleheader, and Kipe, there had to be 40,000 plus, and they all had dingers.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the loudest I've ever heard in my life.
Every time I've seen Jack McKeon since that time, he was managing the Royals. He said, oh, I see you in my head rings. Because we whipped up on them pretty good that night.
It was great. It was, but I mean, when you have Catfish and Vida going back-to-back games in a doubleheader, you're not going to see a lot of offense from the other side. They didn't provide very much for any team.
That year the Royals were pretty good too. They had a good ball club.
It's a nice rivalry between the A's and the Royals during that period of time. They were playing on the artificial surface at now it's Kauffman Stadium, and they had the Rabbits to take advantage of all that.
And they had the great George Brett.
Jones going back. He's at the wall, and he leaps, and he caught it.
Same guy that dropped one last night, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's why he's got a gold glove right there, Monty. That was a great play, and timed it perfectly. And Jed Lowry showing his power from the right side, going opposite field, and take the chance tomorrow afternoon and over that Xfinity sign. It'll probably be a home run on the day game, but nighttime, a little bit heavier air, but that was a fantastic play. But he can blow a bubble at the same time going after a fly ball and bang it into the wall. That's pretty talented.
So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Speaking with the great Monty Moore.
Porterville, California. And Monty broadcast the A's back in Kansas City. Came to Oakland. And were you telling me that when Charlie Finley brought out the white shoes, you had to be a part of that as well as the players?
Yeah, they opened up the season, and Joe Adcock was managing the Cleveland Indians, and they played in Kansas City. And on the first pitch of the ball game, with our guys wearing the white shoes, he went out and protested the game.
Really?
Yeah, went to the umpire, protested the game, said my players cannot see a white baseball with those white shoes up in the air.
Up in the air?
Yeah. So what happened is those guys did pretty well. They scored 9 runs against those white shoes.
Under protest.
The big thing about those white shoes is funny though, Ray, is when Charlie came up into the booth and he said, now here's what I want you to say about those white shoes. He said, those came from Australia. He said, I have an exclusive thing going with the guy who raises albino kangaroos.
On that note, we'll go to break.
And Monty Moore in the house. How about those units?
My goodness. There's the official dinger. That is pure brass.
That's right. I tell you what, I think Kurt Suzuki heard you say about the dinger because he hit the home run and you started.
As I was talking about
exactly. And the reason, and I give my partner credit, he left the booth so you could do the play-by-play on that game. And you had the half inning doing the play-by-play, and you're talking about the dinger, and Suzuki on cue hit the dinger.
We didn't get a lot of play-by-play done that night. I remember that. I didn't even bring a scorebook with me. So.
Well, you had plenty of them still in reserve, so that's fine.
I got plenty of those. But, you know, Ray, just being here with these guys, the 73 team, you're one of them, I still think that of all the World Series the A's won in the 80s or the 70s, that 73 team had the toughest road to get there and win it. Because we had only a 5-game playoff series. That was against Baltimore, and they had those great pitchers.
Yes, they did.
Palmer, Cuellar, and that group. McNally. You had to come from behind to win the playoff.
Yep.
Did that. Then played the Mets, and they had a great pitching staff.
Right.
Kuzman and Seaver, Matlock, all those guys. And they got ahead of us 3-2.
That's right.
And had to come back and beat that pitching staff. And that was the toughest road that I can imagine getting to a World Series and winning it.
What about Catfish Hunter?
Well, you can't say enough about him because he was the best. And I've told you that. I've told a lot of people that. As I go around the banquets talking to kids, I said the important thing is not how you play, but how you react to how others play. And that's what Catfish did.
Chris Young is going back, and that one off the wall, and Steve Pearce is going to have a leadoff double. He almost pumped one out of here.
Yeah, thanks to the heavy air on that one. But Catfish was the best teammate I think anybody ever had. You'd know better than I, but he never made any excuses for any home run that he gave up, and he certainly wouldn't let any newspaper guy get away with criticizing one of Catfish's teammates who might have made an error. He always said, hey, look, that same guy hit a home run a couple of days ago. Remember that one?
Yeah.
So he was just the greatest, and you know, there's always got to be a pitching staff on a winning team that the players would say, for the big game, who gets the ball?
That's right.
And who got it?
Catfish would always get it, as he got in the 74, which we talk about next year, but he got a save in game 1 because he had to win in Baltimore. And so he wasn't able to start the first game.
Yeah.
In
and I remember till the last day I knew him, anytime anybody would talk about the perfect game, he would say, remember what happened to the game after that I pitched?
That's amazing.
Do you remember?
That's amazing. Do you?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Yeah, he gave up about 13 runs in Minnesota.
Wow. Against the same team that he threw a perfect game against.
Yeah.
Wow.
And only 4 or 5 days later.
What a great memory. Well, it's probably 4 days because he pitched on a 4-man rotation.
Yeah,
so there's,
there were no pitch counts in those days, I'll tell you that.
No, that's for sure. I think Blue Moon Odom, somebody was charting his game one time, and I think maybe been Catfish, and they'd sit behind home plate and chart, and he looked up and he finally said 182 pitches. He's still out there. But you know, that was then. And we were talking earlier with Kenny Holtzman about the 11-inning game that he pitched in 2 hours and 23 minutes, something like that. So it was a little bit different. Not as many commercials probably in between innings as there are right now.
One good thing, Ray, about those two guys, Hunter and Holtzman, there was no messing around between pitches either.
Exactly. That's a big strikeout with the runner at second because he had tried to bunt him over to get the runner in third, something the Orioles were able to do last night successfully. Get a runner at third, less than 2 outs, but great pitching. Fastball inside to Casilla. And see, that's something Catfish right there. Catfish is amazing. When he pitched here, he had never pitched inside to hitters. Yet when he went to the Yankees, we would all talk and say, remember, he won't pitch inside. First pitch inside.
Oh.
He said, you guys were thinking that I wouldn't pitch inside, and he just turned right around and did exactly what we thought he would not do.
One thing about it, if you as a catcher wanted to pitch inside, he could throw it there.
He could, yes. he was the best. And
we talk about Holtzman. 73 was the first year they allowed the designated hitter, but they did not allow the American League team to use it in the World Series.
That's right.
So we had Darren Johnson, DH all year. Well, Holtzman had to bat for himself. Well, what did he do in the World Series? Hit a home run.
That's right.
What did he do in the playoffs? Hit 2 doubles.
Yeah.
So
he told us about that, and he told us more about his hitting than he did his pitching.
Well, I can imagine that.
He's telling Jim Palmer the exact same thing. Or he was anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, he couldn't wait to go over and see Joe Palmer.
2-0 the count to Nick Markakis. Orioles with a chance to grab the lead here at the top of the 5th. Monty, you told a great story today in the office of Steve Vucinich about the swinging A's. You brought it with from Kansas City. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I started calling the A's in Kansas City the swinging A's. That was in an era when swinging was something that couples did, married couple, you know, and I wasn't even aware of that.
There's more to the story, I promise.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to stay long enough to tell it?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. All right. So what happened is we had Danny Cater, Mike Hirschberger, Manny Jimenez, all these guys. Cater never in his career took 2 pitches without swinging. I don't care where they were. But he was swinging everything, and fortunately he hit most of them.
Yeah,
he hit 300.
Good hitter.
But some of those guys, that whole team was made up of guys just went up there swinging. So I just started calling them the swinging A's, you know, because they're swinging at everything. And it sort of caught on. And then when we came out to Oakland, we were sitting in this old Coliseum in the A's offices down here with Charlie Finley and Carolyn Coffin, who was his secretary, and they were talking about designing a logo. And so Charlie said, well, what would be a good thing to put on? But I said, let's put swinging A's on it. Swinging. So they put that on a little round thing, and Carolyn Coffin said, let's put the white shoes on it. There it is right there on the screen.
That's amazing.
So Charlie said, yeah, I like that. So they made that little round circle, and believe it or not, it's still being used.
Yep.
The swinging A's. But that's where the word swinging A's came from.
That's amazing. And you didn't trademark it.
Oh, no, I didn't know what a trademark was.
I still say it. If the A's hit the bats, you know, swinging the bats, great, scoring runs, they're the swinging A's.
Swinging A's. That's it.
Well, those guys were fun to watch. I'll tell you what, they swung at everything, and we had to think of something because they were losing a lot of games.
That's right, in Kansas City. And Monty, speaking of Kansas City, the A's came from Kansas City to Oakland and won the championships, and we talked earlier, but they're going to have a Kansas City Athletics reunion. I guess of the players coming back when the A's are in Kansas City.
Yeah, the A's left Philadelphia and came to Kansas City in '55, and they left in '67. So they've invited players from all that era, the Kansas City A's era, to come back for a reunion, and they have 40 of them. They notified me yesterday, have 40 coming back. There are guys like you wouldn't think about. Jerry Lumpy, who was a coach of the A's one time here, Norm Seaburn, Rocky Colavito, you associate him with the A's, Jim Gentile, Hank Bauer.
That's right.
So we'll get to see you in Kansas City.
Yeah, you're going to be there. That's the reason I told him I would come. I will come if the A's are playing. They schedule it.
Look at this. You're going to finish with a dinger.
I don't think I'll take it with me.
There's your dinger right there.
It is. All right, guys. It's been fun. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Monty. Got your A's tie on and everything. Sportsnet. Take your team with you. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years. Join the millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected devices in HD quality. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere.
So no score. Bottom of the 5th inning, a pitcher's duel.
Raleigh with a green mustache. Isn't that amazing?
He's getting ready for tomorrow. He looks like a closer, that young guy, doesn't he? Hat down.
The Dave Stewart stare.
Bottom of the 5th inning. It'll be Norris, Fryman, and Wells. So nice trip down memory lane, Ray.
That was great. That's great. And just to see the guys over in the Eastside Club, and you know, I commend the A's for announcing the date of tomorrow, April 27th, far enough in advance so the players who participated, especially in the 73rd World Series, could be made aware of that early enough, schedule and block off the date, the weekend, and be able to come here, because tomorrow every member of the starting 9 the World Series will be here.
That's pretty cool.
That is outstanding. And unfortunately, Catfish Hunter, Helen, his wife, will be here, accepting the check on behalf of the ALS Foundation, of which Jim Catfish Hunter's name is attached to. And we saw Kenny Holtzman, Vida Blue. Blue Moon Odom's here.
Yeah.
Raleigh, of course, Daryl Knowles. Ted Kubiak, one of the great second basemen, along with Dick Green. Pat Bork is here. Herb Norn, Weststock, coaches. So the Captain Sal. Captain Sal is going to be at third base, and there he is right now in the radio booth with the guys. We'll have the captain on tomorrow with us.
Flew in from Milwaukee.
Yes, he did.
Kind of like a guy who lives in Milwaukee.
That's right. It's a good man, Captain Sal, and you know, everything that Kenny and Dick Green and Monty talked about, Captain Sal took care of everything. He's captain for a reason.
And that one right there, strike 3 called. Norris knew it. So both pitchers sharp tonight. That's the 5th strikeout for Wei-Yin Chen. Here's our AT&T trivia answer for tonight. The question is, who is the only pitcher in Major League history to appear in every game of a 7-game World Series? Ray Foss is shaking his head. He knows. He was there.
Right.
He caught the guy. Daryl Knowles.
That's right.
Good left-hander.
Very good.
So he was just automatic. He was going to get up every game.
Yeah. Rusty Staub and Daryl Knowles. He had a great pickoff move. It was outstanding. But you know, one of the games that Daryl pitched in, Raleigh came in relief in the 6th inning, pitched 3 1/3. So he was the closer, but pitched 3 1/3, and then Daryl Knowles came in, pitched 2/3 of an inning, ended up getting a save.
So I was looking at the statistics from the 1970, the individual statistics, and that one's drilled to right center field, and nobody's going to get it, and it is off the wall. Fryman digging for second, and he's going to get in there with a slider.
Man, that 6-inch frame can run. Wow. I mean, he had to know it wasn't going out and had to bust it because he hit it so hard, got the high fastball, similar to the hanging curveball he hit off Eric Goddard for the home run. But this ball to the gap, hit the wall, hit it hard, came back, and he had to hurry. But watch the big frame hit the bag. I mean, that's some long strides, and hit the bag with his left foot perfectly, slid late at second, so he's not hurt, fortunately. But
so first career double.
Yeah.
And the A's have a chance to take the lead. Here's Casper Wells. Long look by Chin, and the first pitch to Wells is outside. But I was saying, as I looked at the pitching statistics, really only 4 relievers.
That's right.
And Paul Lindblad, another left-hander, right?
That's right.
Daryl Knowles. It was fun to look at because you look at the innings pitched by the starters and 4 relievers, and that was about it. So go get them.
Well, then it enabled you to have extra position players because of that, because 4-man rotation, and I think during the season maybe 5 relievers, so 9 pitchers, 10 at max. So you hit 14 to 15, maybe 16 position players to be able to use. And you know, that enabled Dick Williams, when he was managed, to use 4 different second basemen, because the second baseman never hit. Every time the second base spot would come up, he'd pinch hit for him, because he had another second baseman to put in.
Gotcha. Casilla handles the pop-up from Casper Wells. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th. And always a huge treat to speak with Monty Moore.
Yeah.
You know what, I've got to know Monty over the years now. He's just a wonderful man, but he absolutely loves coming back to the Coliseum.
Yes.
I mean, you could just see it in his face when he walks around, sitting in Steve Vucinich's office today. I mean, his face just lights up just being in this ballpark. There's a shot. Nice play by Machado. Flips to first, side, retired. So Manny Machado with a nice play, saved a run. So the A's threaten, do not score, and we are still scoreless through 5.
Hall of Fame autograph session with Hall of Fame players Raleigh Fingers and Reggie Jackson. Each session will last 20 minutes beginning at 1:45 p.m. and feature one player. Autograph tickets are $50 per session and will go on sale outside the bar and grill doors near section 217 at 11:05 a.m. Autograph session proceeds benefit the Jim Catfish Hunter ALS Foundation and A's Community Fund.
So it's the top of the 6th inning. Wei-Yin Chin and Tommy Malone locked up in a pitcher's duel.
When you think of the 5th inning, great job of pitching by Tommy Malone after the leadoff double to get out of the inning, strike out, and a couple of fly balls to shortstop, and then great play by Manny Machado to save the run. But that ball was blistered by Adam Rosales. Chin got out of it after having the 1-out double. Rosales
played and the inning.
I mean, that's an Olay, and probably a smart idea by Machado to take it on the side, considering as hard as it was hit. But he made it play, good hands, and once he caught the ball, able to complete the out at first.
1-1 pitch to Adam Jones. Foul back, 1-2. 81 pitches for Tommy Malone. Four hits for the Orioles, just 2 hits for the Athletics. There's been 1 error in the game that was made by the A's. Curveball that drops low. Jones will be followed by Davis and then Wieters here in the 6th inning. Jones, a strikeout and a single so far. He rolls this one towards short. Rosales charges, guns it across, and that's out number one. So Adam Rosales has been busy tonight. Well, log on to csncalifornia.com and click on A's In-Game Live. It's presented by Comcast Business Class. You're going to enhance the in-game experience on your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet. Follow the action like never before with in-depth stats up to the second box scores, and join the social buzz with other fans. A's In-Game Live, presented by Comcast Business Class, only at csncalifornia.com. That gentleman, he may do that when he gets home tonight.
It's like the hats Charlie gave us after the '74 game 2 of the big championship series. Charlie had us wear those hats going back to Baltimore.
I would spend money to see you wear that hat.
I still have mine.
I bet you do. You better still have it.
But I don't think it fits anymore. And I don't think I would wear it anymore. I wore it to Baltimore because we were required to, but that's about it. Yeah. Delaire said Reddick would wear it. I might bring it out just for him.
Long run for Casper Wells, but it's going to be Donaldson's instead as it hangs up, and Donaldson makes the catch in foul territory.
Well, Cap, that's a tough play. I mean, you have to run that far, and you can imagine running, and when you're running, your head's bouncing and your eyes bouncing. That's the important thing of getting to the ball as quickly as possible, stop, and then make the play. And Josh Donaldson, a long run from the shortstop position with a shift, and is able to get there.
Oh, that's why I immediately said Wells, because I saw how far Donaldson had to run. Donaldson got there. So 2 quick outs here in the 6th inning. Now, the first inning got to Malone a little bit as far as pitches, but he's really been pretty consistent since then. Malone trying to cut right through the 3, 4, and 5 hitters of the Orioles. And it's 1-1 to Wieters. Malone with 4 strikeouts. He has walked 1.
Think about Malone, which makes him so impressive. Just a nice, easy delivery, almost never a panic in any pitch that he makes. And you like the calm demeanor too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just so calm, and you never know what he's thinking. I think of the great Dave Stewart back in the late '80s, that death stare that he had. You never knew what he was thinking.
Changeup, 2-2.
Catfish Hunter, I'd say to him every time he's pissed, how do you feel today? And he said, with my fingers.
Okay.
What? Huh?
All right.
But that's it. He just never took anything seriously. He just went out and pitched. And, it's just, guys were different. Kenny Holtzman was different. Dinah Blue, Blue Moon. Guys were all different in their approaches.
Close pitch, 3-2.
Heights is okay. Had to be outside. That's about the only thing. And Tommy Cam shows that it was outside. Didn't get the call.
3-2 pitch and a changeup, and you can tell the way Wieters swung at it that it was a changeup. 79 miles an hour. A little emergency swing.
Yeah, well, just barely got it towards the end of the bat to stay alive, and one-handed on top of it.
How did he hit that?
I have no idea. Throw it again, though. Throw it in the dirt and see if he can swing over it. He did it in the first inning.
And he goes with a fastball right down the middle. Strike 3 called. Side retires. So 5 strikeouts for Tommy Malone. He's retired 6 in a row. Bottom of the 6th coming up.
Of 2013, driven by Chevrolet, the event features a pregame festival and on-field parade. 7,500 kids will receive A's wristbands. For more information or for discounts on groups of 25 or more, call 510-638-GO-A's or go to oaklandathletics.com/Little League. You must purchase a special ticket to participate in the festivities. 13,000 Little Leaguers expected. Jack going to be out here? Okay.
I don't know yet.
Well, if he's one of 13,000,
Yeah.
you better be down on the field shaking his hand.
He is a little league.
You know, and that
He knows a couple people that could get him a ticket.
and you know that parade better start early because 13,000 kids walking around this warning track. Is it going to start at 10? Wow! They have to start early. What a thrill that would be for those 13,000 kids and their parents. They'll be here.
That's right. They may be here all weekend.
Got some sugar in them. They're happy.
Look out.
Come to the yard, get the sugar. Stay for the pie.
Top of the order for the A's. If they could get something going. Abachiro. I got a soft spot for churros.
Do you?
Oh, my goodness. I think I hold the press room record here at the Coliseum for churros. I'll tell you.
Not Cheerios, churros, right?
Churros.
Churros?
That's right.
Okay.
Chris with a pop out and a single tonight. 1 of 2 hits for the A's.
Well, kettle corn's good. It's always good stuff.
Inside corner, strike 2 call. Only 63 pitches for Chen in this game.
See, that's the amazing thing. And then, you know, you start looking at a game like this and figuring to get the pitch count up. And Chen has been such a good pitcher with all of his pitches throwing strikes consistently. His pitch count is not high.
Machado grabs it, guns it across, and that's out number 1. So that'll bring up Chris Young.
Now batting center fielder, number 25, Chris Young.
So Chris Young has walked and struck out. You see the shift on for Young. Casilla playing right behind second base. Chen drops a strike. Chen has struck out 5 and he has walked 1. So shutting down the A's again. We talked about it in the open. His 2 starts last year against the A's, he was very good in both of them.
See, that appeal to first base that James Hoyle called it. Something that his home plate umpire did not do to last night. See the body? See what happened? That was called a strike. That's exactly what happened last night when Jim Reynolds would not call the strike on Rimo. And it's exact same thing tonight that Chris Young did.
Reddick will be next.
Bob Melvin does have his pitching coach in the game tonight. So Kurt Young still with the skipper on the bench. Bob Melvin really looking forward to tomorrow and seeing guys. And
line drive, and Hardy gets it in the air. So it's a line out by Young. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Now in its 7th season, the Comcast Sportsnet All-Star Teacher Program recognizes Bay Area teachers that make a difference. Visit csncalifornia.com and vote for the 2013 All-Star Teacher. Check out the finalist bios and video features. The winning teacher receives $20,000 for his or her school. Reddick chases a high fastball, fouls it back just to our left.
it's amazing in tonight's games, the atom balls, a hard hit ball has it been right at a fielder. Last inning after the double by Fryman, hard hit ball by Rosales, but Manny Machado made a great play.
there's the numbers. His 3 career starts, including tonight. Just 1 earned run in 17 2/3 innings. The Orioles signed Chen to a 3-year contract with a club option for 2015. So this is the 2nd year of that 3-year deal. Taiwan hit to right field. Markakis goes back. He's got room. So Reddick did not quite get it. And that is a 3-up, 3-down inning for Chen. So we remain scoreless as we head to the 7th inning at the BAL Coliseum. Brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. Cache Creek is giving away 16 cars guaranteed. Visit cachecreek.com for information. 0-0 top of the 7th inning. Good looking stuff in the team store as always. Lots of jerseys, but lots of everything.
Number 2, J.J. Hardy.
So a nice ball game tonight. Heavy on pitching, if that's what you're into. So Hardy to lead it off. Will be followed by Reimold and Pierce. Looking at the scoreboard, the Texas Rangers won tonight 4-3 in Minnesota. So the Rangers continue to play great baseball. Texas is now 16-7. Beltre hit a home run. Texas had a 4-0 lead in that game. There's a shot toward the gap, and that's going to get down for a hit. And Reddick kicks it around and then slips and falls, and that's going to allow Hardy to get to second base.
Well, Hardy aggressively swinging at a pitch that he looked for and got it, and not surprising as he went up with a pitch in his eyes. But if you look for a pitch, you can do things like that, and that ball just ate up Josh Reddick, got him up on the wrist, and then at that point, if he had picked it up and kept his feet, Hardy probably would have stayed at first. Double.
They just changed. That cannot be a double. Wow. So it's a single and an E9, yeah, which is the correct call. Hardy was not going to run until he saw Hardy juggle it, or saw Reddick juggle it, excuse me. And that's going to be an extremely unproductive out by Nolan Reimold as Donaldson grabs it, and that's a huge out.
Talk about the importance of a changeup, but a changeup on a first pitch when a hitter is looking fastball. And Reimold trying to do something productive, hit the ball to the right side, jumped on a changeup. All he could do is hit it straight up. And that's a great pitch. Once he's fooled, and first of all, he shouldn't have his hips opening that much anyway if he's trying to hit the ball to right field. But a great pitch by Tommy Malone with the changeup.
Well, in a 0-0 game in the top of the 7th inning, and you got the leadoff man at second base.
2 innings ago, Casilla tried to bunt with the leadoff double.
And he didn't do it.
Did not do it. Got a strikeout, big strikeout.
And this is an Orioles team, Ray, that they have to play that way.
They are.
They're good at it.
Yeah, they're very fundamentally sound. And the only concern here, Ryan Hardy is not really a stolen base threat, but there are times when a runner in second is not advanced. He'll do it on his own, trying to steal. So good pitch by Malone, first offering, good changeup, and trying to keep Hardy close at second.
Pierce doubled in the 5th, and he takes inside. The Angels are leading the Mariners 5-1 in the 5th inning up in Seattle. Hank Conger and Mark Trumbo have each hit 2-run homers in that game for the Angels, so we'll keep an eye on that one. He did go, says James Hoy.
Oh, where was he last night when you needed him?
James Hoy? He was at second base.
He was. This is the check swing, and that could have gone either way. And they said, I like it. Yeah. Deck of cards.
So 1-2. Red Sox won again. They defeated the Astros 7-3 tonight. Dempster got the win. Bedard took the loss. Cook and Doolittle throwing.
That's a tough pitching staff to face if you're the Houston Astros. They have a young team, a building future maybe, but to face the pitching staff of the Red Sox, Buchholz last night, Dempster tonight. They'll miss Lester because he pitched against the A's on Wednesday.
There's a shot, and that's a base hit left center field. And the Baltimore Orioles are going to take the lead. Steve Pearce comes through, the 8th place hitter.
Location. We saw it with Hardy, a pitch in his eyes. And now the pitch to Pearce. And after the first pitch change up, he just left it up a little bit too much. Tried to go inside and did not make it. And maybe the pitch count's getting to him a little bit over 100. Location was not where he wanted it. As a result, Hardy scores the first run of the game. 7th inning, too, so not a lot of time left.
Here's Casilla, the switch hitter. Bounced at the plate. So with both the Rangers and the Red Sox winning, they continue to both share the best record in the American League, both 16-7. Foul down right field. The best pitching performance tonight by far belonged to Anibal Sanchez, Ray. He went 8 innings and he struck out 17. Franchise record.
17 of 24 possible outs.
17 strikeouts in 8 innings for Anibal Sanchez.
The infield and outfielders were bored tonight. Not much action.
Rosales going out, backpedaling. He's got it, and that's out number 2.
Adam Rosales first started at shortstop tonight, has been busy all night, and with a left-handed pitcher, not surprising to see that. And I think the skipper's going to the bullpen.
So it's going to be Doolittle to face Markakis with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. And the Orioles have taken the lead. But Tommy Malone, a very nice performance. He'll get a nice ovation for the crowd tonight. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts.
Their 1973 World Series championship, 10,000 fans will receive a Reggie Jackson bobblehead presented by Pepsi. Reggie Jackson, Ronnie Fingers, Sal Bano, Joe Rudy, and a whole host of former players will be in attendance along with a special pregame ceremony. For more information and tickets, call 877-493-BALL or visit oaklandathletics.com/tickets. Get here early and to watch the celebration and get your bobblehead. They'll be in line to get the bobblehead. Can't wait to have it. Glenn Kuiper.
Sure. Get here late, lines will be short.
No. What a game for Tommy Malone, and he will not get a chance to win the game, but what an outstanding performance. We've had just no offense. Wei-Yin Chen has just been very good.
9th appearance for Doolittle. Foul tipped by Markakis. So the count a quick 0-2.
So all the Doolittle clan in Boston
did,
and so they may be watching back at the East Coast. It's close, approaching midnight, so it might be early to see their favorite left-handed pitcher come in, but doing a great job as always, especially with a good fastball.
And that's strike 3. So Doolittle makes quick work of Markakis with the strikeout, but the Orioles take the lead. We're headed to the 7th inning stretch.
After the game at the Holiday Inn Oakland Airport, A's infielder Jed Lowry will be interviewed live. Come be part of the show, and you can win A's prizes. Enjoy great food and beverage specials at the Holiday Inn Oakland Airport Diamond Sports Bar and Grill at 77 Hagenberger in Oakland. Well, let's hope tomorrow Jed Lowry gets about 4 hits. So when he's interviewed live post game, he'll have a lot to talk about.
Want him to be in a good mood. So Lowry to lead it off, followed by Donaldson and Norris. A's now trailing 1-0. Shutdown innings for Wei-Yin Chen. 3 for 4 so far this year. First pitch to the A's cleanup hitter Lowry is a high strike. Lowry a fly out to right, and then he was robbed in center field by Adam Jones. He had a long drive over Jones's head, but Jones was able to get back and make a very nice catch, and it's 0-2. Chen painting the corner in only 74 pitches.
It's an amazing thing. Just sneaky enough, using both sides of the plate. His control is unbelievable, at least tonight. Hard to believe he's 1-2 in the season.
Change up, but it stays outside. toward right center. Plenty of time for Adam Jones to get underneath it. He's got it. So out number 1. We got in-depth sports news for the Bay Area fan. Go deep with Sportsnet Central, brought to you by Hyundai. It's tonight at 10:30, and it's over on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. Full highlights and clubhouse reaction from this game. Also complete Warriors coverage. Game 3 that's going on right next door. Go Warriors. And the latest on the Raiders and the 49ers draft picks. Day 2 of the NFL draft.
What are the Warriors doing tonight? How they're playing?
It was close. They're trailing right now by 11, we're told, and it's halftime just across the way.
Game started at 8 o'clock.
7:35. Probably a pretty good scene over there. All yellow, we're told. Dressed in all yellow.
So we saw the highlight on Diamond Vision. You can see a lot of that. A lot of noise with the whatever the noisemakers they did from the postseason last time in the postseason.
Hey, I went to an NBA playoff game with you, remember? In Cleveland.
That's right. That's right.
That was fun.
A few years back.
It was the Celtics, Cavs, and our good friend Ray Fosse took care of us.
It's when LeBron James was playing for them.
We had LeBron James Cavs playoff tickets in Cleveland thanks to Ray Fosse. How awesome is that? Do you remember they announced the starting lineups and they had the fire guns going off and we were like, holy smokes, what's going on in here? We thought the place was going to come down. Now that's just the way it is when they announce those NBA lineups.
Bobby DiBiasio,
yeah,
man in Cleveland, of course. Bobby D.
One and 2 to Donaldson. 6 in a row retired by Wei-Yin Chen. Donaldson with a fly ball to right field, and then he struck out looking. Setting up inside. Missed by much. Chen, 88, 89, 90. He moves it in and out, up and down.
Well, he threw a change up to Lowry, 2-2, or 1-2 that is, and got him to pop up. And as he hit back to the dugout, stopped to speak to Chili Davis, the A's hitting coach, about the pitch. I think a lot of times you get scouting reports on what pitchers do, but pitchers also change. Chili, of course, a very good hitter in his own right, 350 home runs in his career, and hit for an average plus the power. But it was funny talking to him. He said he stands in this case or sits on the bench and he goes with the pitcher and how he's pitching his hitters.
There's a line shot. Reimold back and over, and he makes the catch.
Reimold was back already and then went over, but he didn't have to go back far, playing deep. And Wei-Yin Chen tonight has been very good. Good fastball, the strikeout, good change up there. But look at the location. Very rarely does he go to the middle of the plate. That pitch was inside again. And I think he's kind of doing a good job eliminating the middle part of the plate, which good pitchers do.
Here's Norris. Also looks like Gray, really everything comes out of his hand the same way.
Yeah. Especially that pitch. First pitch change up at 82.
Norris popped out and struck out so far in the game. So the Orioles broke through in the top of this inning, and it was a defensive mistake by the A's that helped the Orioles get their run. It was an unearned run.
It's a column where you're looking at runs and earned runs, and you see the earned run column is not even with the run column, then you know you're giving up some unearned runs, and that's not a good column to see expanded. When you're playing close games like this and a good pitching effort, then unfortunately what happens, a team that that ends up winning a lot of times will take advantage of a mistake.
Setting up inside, and it's foul to the right side. Leaked out over the plate just a little bit.
Well, last at bat, Derek Norris took a fastball with 2 strikes. Maybe inside a little bit, at least on the corner, not off the plate, but inside. And he was not looking for the pitch as he took it. Not see hitters a lot of times take a fastball for strike 3. Usually they're prepared to hit a fastball. Off-speed pitch might fool him.
And slider, baby. And good take by Norris. So it'll be interesting to see what Chen throws. Full count, 2 outs, nobody on base. And he misses low. So good at bat by Norris. The A's have a base runner.
Well, maybe Fryman can hit the same shot to right center. Really, his hit was probably the biggest and the loudest. He went for a double, and the other hit was an infield hit off the glove of Machado by Coco Crisp.
Norris to runner at first. He runs pretty well. First pitch is a bit inside to Fryman. That double by Fryman back in the 5th inning was his first double of his career. So he's got a home run. He's got 5 RBIs. Norris inching off. Missed again inside.
There is against the left-handed Bedard that Fryman hit his first major league home run, the hanging curveball. Ricadair after a walk, and now first 2 pitches out of the strike zone. He's going to visit his pitcher.
Well, he walked Norris, goes 2-0 to Fryman. He's now at 93 pitches. There is nobody warming up in the Orioles bullpen. That could change at any moment.
Well, the outfield, which kind of playing no doubles, playing deep. Leading by run, 2 outs in the 7th. Not a bad idea to play deeper, which they seem to be doing in this at bat.
That one was a strike.
It looks like they do not want the big guy to extend his arms.
Maybe Stroop starts to throw, or will start to throw soon. Pretty good Orioles bullpen. It was one of their strengths last year. Fryman takes the changeup, and now it's 3-1. On deck is Casper Wells. Fryman got underneath it, hits it to shallow left. Reimold coming in. He's got it side retired. So the A's get a 2-out walk, but Norris is stranded, and we're moving to the 8th inning, and the Orioles hanging on to the 1-0 lead.
choice for baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers baseball with audio, pitch tracking, stats, breaking news, and video highlights. MLB.TV premium subscribers can get premium features for free and watch live out-of-market games. Visit OaklandAthletics.com for details. That's a good one, Pat. You probably got it right now on your phone, don't you?
I could if I wanted to.
That bat is good, man. And talk about the clarity. Guys are watching on the bus and saying,
Yep.
That's HD, isn't it?
And it is.
It is HD.
Manny Machado to lead it off. He'll be followed by Jones and Davis against Sean Doolittle. Angels still leading the Mariners 5-1. Bottom of the 6th inning up in Seattle. Big chopper. Lowry charges, and that is out number 1. Machado now 1 for 4.
And that's a great fastball from Sean Doolittle. They can throw a fastball to a fastball hit on a 1-0 count, and he jams himself because it got on his so quickly. It's just a rare back throw him hard. He did throw a slider to Markakis, struck him out to end the 7th inning with a runner at first.
So with 1 out, Jones will hit. So there was 3 of them today, Ray. You want to know what I'm talking about?
Shutouts, right?
Yeah. We've been working together so long. You know exactly what I'm thinking. 3 more shutouts today.
Wow.
And Ray and I have been having fun with this shutout thing. Nationals shut out the Reds. Phillies shut out the Mets. And we told you about that Anibal Sanchez where the Tigers shut out the Braves. So 3 shutouts today.
That surpasses the record in April, doesn't it?
So 59 shutouts now around Major League Baseball in the month of April. And there's still 4 days left. So there are 8 more shutouts already than there were last April.
And that means there are going to be some averages on the interstate.
So, you
the
know,
180s, 190s.
We haven't necessarily figured out a reason why, but
it's the weather.
It is what it is. It's just one of those statistics from the early part of this 2013 season that is standing out. It's shutouts. Shutouts and postponements. How about that? And we had one of those too. Cleveland in Kansas City, and they did not play today. They'll play a doubleheader on Sunday.
Yeah, but at least they're in the same division.
There you go.
So they'll visit twice, 2 more times.
Yeah. 0-2 pitch. Foul back. Got a piece of the catcher Derek Norris.
I think the strange thing about, for example, the 10-0 shutout, where Sanchez didn't give up much in the 7 innings he pitched with the number of strikeouts. That's off the helmet, top of the head, Derek Norris. But you know, you get games where a runner might get it first and they won't hold him on first, so a difference gets him in score position, then a base hit might score, but the shutout's still intact. I mean, so those things didn't happen. And I think there are times that a shutout could be had, but because of a score, and the guy might not be held and ends up getting in scoring position, maybe even scores on a ground ball out or a sac fly, something happens. So I think it makes it even more impressive with the shutout.
And that is a fastball at 96 miles an hour, and a pretty good hitter. Didn't have much of a chance. That was right by him. 2 outs. Make sure you join us tonight on A's Postgame Live for the A-Team. A special presentation of all 4 of us broadcasters, Korak, Catroni, Fossey, and myself. We're going to get together and have an unscripted roundtable discussion about tonight's game. It's only on A's Postgame Live at 95.7 The Game, and it's after the game. The question is what word is Ken Korak going to use tonight that we don't know the definition?
Wow.
Because, you know, he's been looking.
We'll have to get
digging through the
sources.
Yeah.
But he's waxing
poetic. He's too smart for us. He's going to come up with something.
There's Pete in the background. He'd probably ask Pete for a new word. Pete said, duh.
Pete DeLonzo, one of the terrific Bay Area cameramen. There's Pete right behind. Ken's got his game face on right now. It's a 1-0 game in the top of the 8th inning.
And he's got the monitor. He knows he's on camera. So, you know, he's got his game face on, but he knows it.
High pop-up foul by Chris Davis.
We'll have to ask him what kind of conversation they had with the captain, Sal Bamba. Sal was in the radio booth tonight. He said he and Reggie will be with us tomorrow. That'll be fun. Captain and the MVP of the '73 World Series.
Davis tries to hold up, and he did hold up as they check with Bob Davidson down at third base tonight.
Too bad they didn't appeal to first base. This is a strikeout. Well, that time the bat stayed back, even though the body went forward. So that's a legitimate call because the bat did not go through the hitting zone.
Davis walked in the first, grounded out in the third, and popped out in the 6th.
And here's the case in Sean Doolittle. He is throwing a few more sliders, and he has a blazing fastball and has to be thinking perhaps if he throws a slider and makes a mistake and speeds up the bat of Davis, so he stays with a heater, which is probably a good idea. Plus 2-2 the count. He misses the slider. He's going to be guaranteed. Davis said he's going to get a fastball.
And a slider, and it was nasty. So Davis strikes out. Couple of strikeouts for Doolittle here in the 8th inning. Bottom of the 8th coming up. It's going to be Wells, Rosales, and Crisp for the A's, trailing 1-0.
Deck? No way!
Here's our game summary. It's brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Both pitchers very sharp tonight. A little double play right here by the A's. That was in the 2nd inning to get Malone out of a jam. Wei-Yin Chen still out there. Got 5 strikeouts through 7 shutout innings. A little defensive help from the Gold Glover and center Adam Jones. Terrific play right at the wall. And this is the only run in the game. Steve Pearson RBI single, scored J.J. Hardy. Hardy had got out on a single and then an error in right field, and that put him at second base, and then he would score on that hit. 1-6-0 for the Orioles, 0-2-2 for the Athletics. So Chen back to the mound. He'll face Wells, Rosales, and Crisp. He's got 96 pitches so far in the game. His first pitch just a touch low. Wells a strikeout and a pop out.
Well, one thing the A's have done with Tommy Malone coming out, Sean Doolittle doing his part. It's so important for the bullpen, as both bullpens now getting ready. The Submarine and O'Day for the Orioles getting ready. And it's important to keep it where it is, give the A's a chance to come back.
Wells gets tied up.
How about this shift type? Here's a guy that Casper Wells has been on the waiver wire. He's not played that much since spring training, yet the Orioles have a full-blown shift on for the right-hander.
Pop up, reach the seats.
You'd have to think, if anything, his bat's a little slow, which would indicate that maybe he had hit a ball to the right side just because he's not getting around on a fastball. But as we see the shift, the importance of the pitcher to pitch into the shift so the hitter hits the ball where the shift is positioned.
Pop up right center. Marquez has it, and Wells is 0 for 3. So 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th, and that'll bring up Adam Rosales. That was pitch number 101 for Chen. His season high in pitches is 107. He did that in his second start of the year at Fenway Park. So here's Rosales. Strike called on the outside corner. Rosales, fly ball to right, and he was robbed of an RBI hit in the 5th. He had a shot that Manny Machado made a nice play on. Strike 2. 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but right on the outside corner. It was a high strike. Cook now throwing. Darren O'Day, the sidewinding right-hander, is in the Orioles bullpen. Bounce to Chen, who leaps up to catch it, fires to first, and that's out number 2. His last hit was that Fryman double, and that was in the 5th inning. He's only had 2 hits.
And again, a 2-out walk, which really doesn't help him. And Chen almost jumped and mistimed his jump, but on top of the mound, able to bring it down.
So top of the order, and Coco Chris steps in for his 4th at bat. Pop out, single, and a ground out for Coco. Off the end of the bat, coming in is Rybold, and he's got it. So a very impressive bottom of the 8th inning for Wei Yin Chen, and we're moving to the 9th. Orioles 1, A's nothing.
Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
Orioles lead 1-0 over the A's, and we have reached the 9th inning. It's Earth Week. The American Dental Association suggests replacing toothbrushes every 3 to 4 months. If every American did, that would add up to over 1 billion toothbrushes a year. Do your part by replacing with a recycled plastic version. Green is universal. Well, when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and smog experts. Ryan Cook comes in for appearance number 10. Good ERA, 0.87. He's got a win. Cook has not pitched in a while. In fact, his last appearance was last Saturday, so it's been 6 days. The handshake from the manager. We know what that means, generally. That Jen is done.
Going to turn it over to the closer.
And that would be Jim Johnson. So Wieters, Hardy, and Reimold against Cook.
So that pressure on Johnson after his starting pitcher just pitched a 2-hit shutout for 8 innings. The closer's going to come in and try to finish it off.
2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. 106 pitches. He was terrific. Kind of got that mastery over the A's.
Yes, he does.
So 1-2 to Wieters, who's 0 for 3, struck out a couple times. And Wieters strikes out. That's 9 strikeouts for A's pitchers tonight.
4 of the last 5, thanks to Sean Doolittle's effort. Pitching great, and change up away from the left-hander.
Now batting, number 2, J.
So that'll bring up Hardy. Hardy, a ground out, a strikeout, and he singled and scored in the 7th. He hit the base hit to right field that Reddick bobbled, and on the bobble, Hardy went to second. So it was a single and an error. Fastball is low, 95 miles an hour from Cook. Off the glove of Donaldson, picked up by Rosales. His long throw is not quite in time.
Wow. Is that an arm that Rosales has or what? I mean, a flat-footed throw from the outfield grass deflected, and Rosales jump and a stretch by the tall one at first base, and it might have been. I don't know if Rosales would have gotten to the ball cleanly, but amazingly got so much on the throw, the accuracy, stretch to make sure the ball didn't get by him. But what a play by Rosales.
So here's Reimold. That's hit number 8 for the Orioles. Reimold has one of those. He singled in the 3rd inning. Foul tip. So Doolittle goes an inning and a third. He strikes out 3 of the 4 hitters that he faced. So Doolittle and Cook Certainly not being overworked in the early going, which is, that's a good thing.
Just think about down the stretch last year, and they're pitching 6-7 games consecutively. Something they had not done in their careers, much less a season when they were all rookies. Great job, and maybe saving their strength early, be ready for the lateness of the season as they were last year.
Of course, the other side of that is your best relievers, you don't use them as much if you're not winning. And A's have lost 6 out of their last 7, and there's a walk. 2 on, 1 out for Steve Pearce. Pearce has not been retired tonight. He reached on an error in the 2nd, doubled in the 5th, singled in the only run in the game in the 7th.
Well, Skipper, being a former catcher, knows the importance, and of course as a manager know that you want to go in the 9th inning trailing by 1 run. It makes such a big difference, and at least if you're at home, you get a runner on, you can sacrifice, put them in scoring position as long as you're down by just 1 run.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for Baltimore.
That's Chris Dickerson, who's the pinch runner.
Running for Rimo.
So Dickerson is the pinch runner at first for Rimo. So Speedy Man at first. Hardy is good runner at second. And the pitch to Pearce is a strike. Johnson warming up in the Orioles bullpen. Jim Johnson. Pop up foul. So Cook jumps ahead of Pearce 0-2. A whole lot about Steve Pearce.
All we know is he had a 2-run home run against the Rays while we were down in Florida waiting for the Rays to come to St. Pete. Did that Thursday night. We could go last night in Baltimore. 2-run home run to give the Orioles the lead. Cost David Price a chance to win a game.
He's been with the Pirates, Houston, and now the Orioles.
Well, Jake McGee throwing nothing but fastballs. He finally hit a 2-run home run. So he can hit a fastball, as he proved tonight. Driving in the only run. Was supposed to get a fastball inside. Did not quite make it in. Ended up being a base hit up the middle.
So this was the RBI single by Pearce.
Hit on top of a good fastball, but location might not have been where Tommy Mullen wanted.
2-2. Fastball in on the hands. Pearce was also with the Yankees for a short time last year. So he had 3 big league stops last year: Yankees, Astros, and the Orioles. Casilla, the switch hitter, waiting in the on-deck circle. Pitch number 19 from Cook, and it's a fastball that runs inside. So now full count. Would Buck Showalter start the runners?
He might do it, try to stay out of a double play. Could be a strike about, throw him out. That's a move that Buck Showalter would like to eliminate, just like the fake to third and throw to first, or look to first. That's the old inside move.
Dickerson obviously not being held by Fryman. Runners do not go, and it's fouled back. Cook got in on the hands of Pearce that time.
I believe the thinking right here with the runners not moving And Pierce, a fly ball hitter. Maybe Buck Showalter does not think a ground ball is going to be hit. Ryan Cook can induce double plays with his sinker ball, but if you're a manager, you're saying they'll put the runners in motion and get a strikeout and take ourselves out of an inning where you already have a runner in scoring position. You put 2 there if you steal successfully, but otherwise, if you don't, he strikes out, and you at least have a chance with the next batter.
Foul back again. So good battle here between Pierce and Cook.
It's pretty good fastballs to hit.
Outfield shifted just slightly toward right. Not a lot. Chris Young now moving over to his right to be just about straight up. Neshek starts to throw. Cook again kicks, 3-2 pitch, and again foul back. What you don't want to have happen, Ray, is you don't want Cook to throw 25-30 pitches in this inning.
He's getting close to the 25.
Yeah, and that's where Neshek comes in.
10th pitch, this is bad. Started 0-2. Pierce has worked to 3-2 and fouled off 4 with a couple of strikes. And he's timing the fastball. He's seeing enough fastballs from Ryan Cook that after all the fastballs, does he take the chance and throw him a slider, as Sean Doolittle did a couple of times.
And that was ball 4, but Pierce chased it, but was able to just barely get a piece of it.
Foul tips are so tough to catch, and that's a great shot. Looking in the catcher's mitt, and there's nothing there.
Nothing at all.
Should have known is off the top of the catcher's mitt. This may be a discussion. Hey, you want to throw him a slider? You know, so you're seeing all these fastballs and timing the fastball. You want to take a chance with a slider, at least maybe put the thought in the hitter's mind that he might be thinking something other than the fastball.
So Cook is ready. And another high fastball, and Pierce fouled it back. So the battle continues, and this will be pitch number 25 of the inning for Cook.
Right now, Pierce is thinking, I'm getting nothing but fastballs.
Pitch at bat. Well, if you're him, and you know Cook's got the great slider, but I think you still got to look for the fastball.
Yeah, he's the way he's swinging the fastball, he's continuing to look for it.
And Cook misses badly with another fastball, and now the bases are loaded with only 1 out. And Alexi Casilla is not going to hit. It's going to be Nate McLeod.
Well, that almost forces the skipper. Now, Kurt Young's going to visit with his pitcher, but remember, with Neshek warming up and the lefty pitching, Neshek is more impressive and has better numbers against righties. So McLeod being a left-hander, and Markakis a left-hander, due up after him. And I think what you said is appropriate statement. You don't want to see him throw that many pitches.
Well, you don't want to lose him for tomorrow.
Yeah, and he's to the point now. He probably is thinking about losing it for tomorrow, trying to get out of this inning with just the 1 run. And
number 9, Nate McLeod.
So the runners, Hardy at third, Dickerson at second, Pierce at first. Nate McLeod, the pinch hitter. First pitch, not close. But Cook struck out the first batter he faced in this inning, Matt Wieters.
I mentioned last night, McLeod runs well. I've seen him steal bases and run hard enough to avoid being doubled up, and so the A's playing for two have to get something hard if it's up the middle. Otherwise, first and third might go to the plate.
Outside again, 2-0. So all the last 4 or 5 pitches he's thrown have all been to the same spot. Up and into a right-handed hitter, up and away to McLeod, the left-handed hitter. And that one bounced towards second, and it scoots off the glove of Lowry. Everybody's going to be safe, and a run comes in to score. It's going to be an error on Lowry.
Well, it's simply a case of maybe trying to think about doing too much. Looked like he's trying to take it to the side, spin, and throw to second, and maybe start a double play. And Lowry, as I mentioned, playing at second for the first time this year. But watch him go to his left. It looks like he wants to 360 throw to second, but could not come up with the ball. And that might have been a case of just getting the runner first base, because it's going to be tough to double up McLeod. If you make a good throw to second, that's one thing, but at least you get an out. Didn't happen.
Top of the order, Nick Markakis. And he drives one to left center field. Wells is back. He's under it. He's got it. It's going to be a sacrifice fly as Dickerson comes in to score. And it's 3-0 Orioles. So Markakis does not wait around. He goes after the first pitch.
Jed to his left and take it to the side, and you know, hindsight being 20/20, you think you get one out there, then fly ball does not plate another run, but it does, and it's just hard to give up extra runs, but the A's have done that in this inning.
So Cook gives up a couple of runs. He leaves. Neshek is in.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for the Athletics.
They've scored twice here in the top of the ninth. They lead 3-0. It's Neshek to face Machado. Pierce at second. Clouth at first. So Neshek on for his 12th appearance. And a quick 0-2 to Machado, who's 1 for 4. That's not a happy camper right there. No, walked a couple. Tap toward Nate Fryman. He's got inside, retired. 2 runs on just 1 hit. There was an error and a couple of walks. So 3-0 as we head to the bottom of the ninth.
Rewind, Tommy Malone. And what a night he has had. Good changeup, great changeup. As a matter of fact, a couple of good fastballs to Matt Wieters to strike him out. Good location fastballs inside. And just pitched very well considering 5 strikeouts. Nice double play turn here for the Athletics and Tommy Malone. So he had the ground ball outs, good strikeouts for the game. But unfortunately, he leaves the game with no run support. Earned runs, 0. He gave up just 1. It was unearned. 105 pitches for the A's left-hander. So good outing, but right now on the negative side of the game.
All right, so it's 3-0. Rally caps are out. And if the A's are going to rally, they're going to do it against the Orioles closer. And he's a pretty good one, Jim Johnson. He's a big fella, 6'6", 240 pounds. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and smog expert. So Johnson takes over. He's 8 for 8 in save opportunities. He was an all-star last year. He had 51 saves. The A's got him, though, in Baltimore.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. 14-9 win for the Athletics in a game in which Johnson struggled.
The bat goes sailing, and the ball heads into the seats.
But the Orioles, leading after 8 innings, they're 9-0, but they just continue leading after 7 innings, as they are now 102 consecutive leads. And they have the lead after 7 innings. Ken did that tonight by pitching the 8th inning. So with 9, I guess A's can find a way to be much better to try to get 1 run, or at least a couple off of Johnson, trailing by 1, but the Orioles did add the 2 extras.
Markakis is over, and he's got it. That's out number 1. So Young is 0 for 3. Well, this reminder, join us tonight on A's Post Game Live for the A-Team. A special presentation of us broadcasters, Court, Catronio, Fossey, and myself. We're going to have an unscripted roundtable discussion about tonight's game. It's only on A's Post Game Live and 95.7 The Game, and that's after the game. Well, we'd like to have a little more to talk about.
Some big fancy word, right?
Exactly. Reddick a strikeout and a couple of fly balls, and this one's bounced foul past Ty Wall. So Reddick behind in the count, 0-2. Fastball is inside. Well, Ray, it sounds like if everything goes well, that the A's will get Yoenis Cespedes back on Sunday.
I look forward to that. Maybe that will inspire them. That would be a game also that Bartolo Colon is pitching.
And a big curveball. Reddick swings and misses, and that's out number 2.
And you know what? You don't want to be thinking about going into Sunday. And unfortunately, there's the hard curveball from Johnson, gets Josh Reddick. The A's won with Bartolo on the mound against the Astros on the Wednesday. Lost 4 straight. They won with Bartolo on the mound against the Red Sox. If they don't come back tonight, they will have lost 3 straight. And with Griffin pitching tomorrow, Bartolo pitching Sunday, you don't want to just try to get 1 win out of every 5 starts.
No, that's not going to get it done.
No, you're not going to have a lot of success. No. But it's good that Bartolo's pitching well, but the starters just if he gets some runs, they're giving them back up. In the case of tonight, Tommy Malone gives up an unearned run, and so far the 1 run would have been enough for Chen and Johnson, but they added 2 more in the top of the inning.
0-1 to Lowry. 0-2 to Lowry. Cespedes hit a home run tonight in his rehab game with the River Cats. He's going to play again tomorrow night for the Cats, and then
he's eligible Sunday and
should be here Sunday if everything goes okay.
Let's hope that works out. Get Mario Prieto back, and he'll hopefully doing a lot of translating for the Cespedes and his success here. but getting his presence in the lineup will be good. Missed some time last year. See what happened with the A's, but get him back. That should be very helpful for the offense.
Big curveball flipped down to left field line, and it's going to fall fair. Lowry's going to try for 2, and he's going to make it with a double. Games are not done just yet. Lowry finds the left field line, his 10th double of the year.
Well, look to right, hit to left, and inside out swing from the A's switch hit on a curveball, and found out where it was and decided let's take off and go for 2. Might as well. They had a 1-out walk in the first, a 2-out single the third, a 1-out double in the 5th, a 2-out walk in the 7th. That's the offense. And now a 2-out double in the 9th.
Fastball right on the outside corner. See, Johnson throws pretty hard, 92, 93 miles an hour. This ball really sinks.
Well, the lefty's on the bench, and Moss, Jaso, Smitty, and Jaso on the on-deck circle to hit for Norris if it gets to that point.
That one bounced in the hole. J.J. Hardy throws, and it's dug out by Davis, and that's the ball game. So the Orioles use great pitching tonight from Wei-Yin Chen, and they get the save from Johnson, and they, for the second night in a row, defeat the Athletics 3-0.
And guess what? You get to add another shutout to your list.
Yeah, and I didn't want to do that after I
did not want to do that tonight, but that's exactly what happened tonight, unfortunately.
Indeed, it is a shutout. It's the Orioles shutting out the Athletics 3-0. So the A's now 13-11 on the year. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's Postgame Live with Scott Reese and Bip Roberts is set to go from the studio.
Hey, Pierce, is that a baby? Yeah.